Welcome to Charting Cryptos and Commodities. Cryptos are not looking good. This is the Bitcoin 24-hour-a-day chart. And you can see the good old days with Bitcoin when it was just popping and climbing and up to a high of $69,000 back on the week of November the 8th, 2021. And how the mighty have fallen. I mean, we can see where we are now, somewhere in that neighborhood of the 15,860 mark, something around there. Let's look on the chart over. So 16,000, the low 16,559, the high 16,961. Of course, we've seen it touch way down into that 1,500. What is the low we're seeing there? 15,479. Whew. So tough over these last few weeks. Maybe Bitcoin trying to make a new bottom. We hoped the bottom would be here around that 18,400, 18,200 mark or so. Not to be, my friends, not to be. We're below the 200 EMA. Where's Bitcoin going to settle out? Some say it'll go down to the 10 range. Some say below. Who knows? Doesn't really matter to us. Again, we're not going to hold it. We're not going to catch a falling knife, and that knife has been falling for quite a while. How will we know when Bitcoin recovers? Of course, it will move up for a good bit of time. We'll start seeing green candles. We'll move from the downtrend, which is below the 200 EMA, above that, sustain above that, and keep on moving up. I'm ready for it to happen, but it's not happened yet. We'll also start getting some much better signals on our STC than what we have now. Can't count on what we are seeing. What about Ethereum? Where is it? Well, it's in that same below the 200 EMA downtrend zone, sliding sideways after some hammer downs. Now, the most recent low, well, it's not all that recent. The lowest low that we've seen over the last year was in June. And again, all the way down to what? $880. Where are things right now as we look for the day? The high 1233, the low 1186. So again, Bitcoin sets the mood. It is the tide. Everything else of the boats floating in the harbor. That tide goes out. Everything sinks. When Bitcoin starts to recover, we'll see it. Let's look at this Bitwise 10 crypto index fund. What is it? It's the top 10 cryptos weighted as per market share. And you can see where we have just had weeks and weeks and weeks of down movement. We can go back to the glory days, and you can see when Bitwise hit its high of highs, which was all the way up to 199.90. Might have been a fluke there, but at some point looks like it hit that. And then we go on into February 21, where it was up to a high of 144.01. So again, as we look at things, we can see how the mighty have fallen, how this entire crypto space is still sucking a lot of wind. And of course, we don't have anything accurate on our STC indicator just because of all of this crashing and trashing. Got to get this bottomed out. Got to start setting some good moves, some good solid movement here up before we're going to look at anything in this crypto space. And again, if you can read a chart, you can do what you need to do. Now let's take a quick look at commodities. Biggest gainer for the day that we're recording this is coffee. J-O. Isn't that an interesting little symbol for coffee, the commodity? We see it trying to push above that 200 EMA, still red on the STC. Maybe coffee's getting ready to really start moving up. It had moved into a downtrend for just a little bit and is now starting to take off. Check out where soybeans are now. We can look and we can see the high back there in April of this year. High was 29.17. Where are we now? We are at a high over the course of this week at 28.44, so not too far off that as far as soybeans go. Remember, a lot of feedstocks, of course, all your soy comes from that. If you're a big soybean fan, soy milk, but again, a big feedstock thing there, but showing you, again, sort of what's happening when it comes to feeding the world. Corn. It's off its highs, but again, up for the day, 1.54%. Been going down for a few weeks. Looks like it might be starting to recover. Still red on the STC is above that 200 EMA, so it's in the uptrend territory. Wheat just touching and looks like it's trying to bounce off the 200 EMA on this weekly chart. It had several weeks of up movement and then rotated back over. Maybe it's going to bounce off that and move up for a while, well off its highs all the way back in February, end of February of this year. So again, sort of showing us what's going on in that world market. A lot of people eat wheat, and we can see that again, it has blown off a lot of its energy lately. Copper. Now, copper is an industrial metal used in a lot of processes. And if I can get my chart to update, there we go. We can see where copper had come and bottomed out back in July of this year and then rotated back over. It's above the 200 EMA. And again, it's sort of been sliding sideways for the last 4 weeks or so. So again, not telling us a whole lot about copper there, but again, keeping our eye on it. What about sugar? Well, sugar pushing up toward its prior highs. We can go back to April of this past year, a high of $10.18. How far off that were we last week? As we look, we can see a high of $9.81. So again, sugar showing some recovery. What about gasoline? Let's look at the U.S. Gas Fund. Well, it is above its 200 EMA, had gone down for many weeks and then started moving back up again in October, sort of ended that up move in early November, down over the last 2 weeks, trying to move up some. As we look at oil, again, we can see sort of a similar pattern there over the last 2 weeks, trying to move up a little. Check out silver. Silver, since it started really moving up in earnest back there in late October, moved up many, many weeks now. It was hammering down today 2.31%, but a few weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, pushed through the 200 EMA. We can see where we've topped out on our STC. But again, silver, used in a lot of industrial uses and all on silver. Interesting. And this to me is the most fascinating chart we saved for last. Natural gas. We hear about, Europe freezing and all this stuff about them converting over. Look at what natural gas has been doing. I mean, hammering down this week, hammering down last week. Was sliding sideways and up a little bit, but below this 200 EMA for many weeks, down for the day alone 6.64%. Well, it doesn't look like the world is suffering from super high prices on natural gas. Isn't it interesting when you check out these commodity charts to see what's really going on? That is where we are, folks. Again, appreciate our Patreon supporters so much. Thank you, my friends. If you have any end-of-year support to give us, we sure would appreciate it. Patreon members, don't forget that, those of you thinking about Patreon support, the minute you sign up, one of the first things we send you is a whole little package of trainings. The biggest there, the 3-part series, Options Made Simple, the Charting Wealth Way. God bless, my friends. Hope you have a happy new year and have had a wonderful Christmas and or Hanukkah. God bless. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.